I'm either going to sell it or make firewood out of it. Might as well cut it in half and make a giant mess out of this. I'm excited. Hope you are.
You know what I think when I look at this wall? I could use another slingshot. That'd really round this collection out. Let's go make that happen.
Okay, we've made it into the alders. Alder tunnel from a very unkempt trail. Probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old. Anyway, we're looking for heavy forks that are likely to provide us with interesting slingshot material. There's one right over here. That might be a pretty nice one. Here's where I'm at so far. I've got my slingshot roughed out. This is still very wet. This is alder. It's red alder, but it's green. Like the species is red alder, but this is very, very green. It's spring. It's full of water. It's still very heavy. This is what I started out with. You get to see me cut that off of the tree. And then, so I cut this off, put this down, did all of my cutting to get it to shape, right? And it looked like that. And then just to knock off the side so I've got less to dry, I cut the bark side off. That left me with where I'm at now. Add those to the scrap pile. Those of you who follow the Slingshot forums, I use those a lot. Anyway, I like when Slingshots have the end grain on the caps, so I've tried to keep the center of both centered in here. That gives me about 4 1/8, and I like my Slingshots to be 4 wide, so that will work out pretty nicely. I've got a lot of wood to remove, as you can see. This is going to be a pretty cool slingshot as we get there, but first we need to dry it. So speed drying, I cut them down to about this size and then I throw them in the microwave. I'll do it for 30-second bursts and I rotate it, right? I'll set it up like this for the first 30 seconds. The next 30 seconds will be like this. The next 30 seconds will be like that. The evaporation out of each of the exposed surfaces consistent. If you lay it down flat like this and you nuke it over and over and over again and it's always laying on this side, it starts to warp because it's evaporating out everywhere except for the bottom piece. So that's a helpful tip for those of you who are going to get into speed drying your slingshot forks. Also, get them roughly to size. You know, at one point in my slingshot building adventure, I was trying to nuke like whole forks, those great big ones like the one I just tossed into the scrap pile. And that's hours and hours and hours of time. You can do it just as good with this, and as long as you're careful, it won't crack or split on you. Here's the last one I made. That's pretty neat, huh? It's a good looking slingshot. I start by getting the tops round. and then trying to follow proportions through the Y part of the fork, and then I'll do the neck of the handle, and I always do this part last. Here we are so far, alder natural. Just got done sanding at 100, starting with 150. It's coming out pretty good. It's a little bit smaller than I had anticipated, right? Somehow I lost about a 1/4 inch here, which means it's a little bit smaller than I like them. We'll see how it shoots, and this will either be a great slingshot for me or a great slingshot for somebody else. So I got enough. If I don't love them, I don't keep them. All right, here we are. Just finished up with 220. It's looking good. Cleaned up nice. There's a couple of things that I really like about this and a couple of things that I don't. I really like that I've got the center grain in each of these forks here. It holds real nice. What I don't love is that my handle didn't come out very symmetrical. As you can see, it kind of leans to one side, but it actually holds quite well despite that. And I'm like 1/4 inch short in width here, so I wish that it was, 1/4 inch wider, outside edge to outside edge. That's going to make a difference in my shooting. Everything will be high, but I'll band it up and see what I can do. Maybe I'll put some lighter bands on it, that way I don't get as much lift, and we'll see if we can't compensate. And if I don't love it, as I mentioned earlier, it'll be a great slingshot for somebody. This is probably closer to 95 millimeter, and I like mine like 104 or something like that. So, yep. See you in a bit. So this is not a chainsaw file, although a chainsaw file works just fine. This is a round rasp made for wood. I own this for putting nocks into bow tips. Back when I used to do a lot more bow building than I did slingshot building, and they've since traded. Anyway, so when I put in my string grooves, I like to go about an 1/8 inch down. Anyway, you get the idea. I go all the way around. I'm not going to be able to show you that on camera because my arms are going to be in the way and stuff, but that's it. Just this file all the way around. Slingshot, sanded to 220. Gloves. So after this dries, I'm going to spray it with Rust-Oleum clear coat, and it'll come out looking like wet glass. That's a piece of string with a tack on it. There we go, that's coat number 2. Here we go. Band it up, GZK green.
Well, damn it. That's firewood.
Alright, it's 2 days later, and we have this perfectly functional slingshot here. It's just a little bit narrow. So, I'm either going to sell it
or make firewood out of it. And I figured before I do either of those, might as well cut it in half and make a giant mess out of this. I'm excited. Hope you are.
Moment of truth. Yep. All right. Now we find something cool to do with the inside here. All right, we're looking for something to put in the middle. I use a lot of this 1/4 inch stuff, so it shouldn't be too hard to find something that fits just right. There's a piece of a slingshot. That's a piece of the same slingshot. That must have been like an offcut for a butt cap or something. That'll be cool on another project. Red oak and purple heart. Cut that down and make that pretty neat. My last alder one that I had to cut like this, I used purple heart on. Oh, there's a good one. Paducah yellow heart. That's good and thin. Let's throw that in there and see what that looks like. Yeah, I don't think that'll look bad at all. I think there might even be enough there. All right, I'm going to get that glued up and I'll get back to you. Here we are. Proper size. Holds good. Good and sturdy. It came out pretty nice. It's like a whole different slingshot at this point, but it's pretty cool. Sandpaper. Same process as you saw before, just all over again. Alright, there we are so far. Whole thing is shaped up nice and sanded down to 400. I'm going to put some super glue on it. Oh, take it back. There's one spot right here that I didn't quite sand enough. I'll do a little more sanding, and then I'll put some super glue on it. And we'll hit it with a couple of coats of clear. We're now exactly 4 inches here, which is perfect. And I'll show you what it's like when it's all done. I'm much more pleased with this now. I'm confident that this is going to hit where I'm aiming it now, and I won't have to aim 6 to 8 inches low. Yeah, Paducah and yellow heart inlay. Split it right down the middle. It's going to be firewood anyway, might as well risk it, right? I don't know if the video's picking that up, but I can see my reflection in it. It's not quite the perfect bone white piece of alder that I've been searching for to make this kind of natural out of, so I'm not terribly heartbroken that it's got this red and yellow in there. It's yellow heart and Paducah. Flat profiles here that I sanded in, you'll be able to see me do that. I didn't bother smoothing out these little lips here from the belt sander. I normally will make that a nice round profile instead of having this change in direction right here. Kind of like it though. Holds good. Holds good both ways now. Yeah, that's done. Alder Natural that I messed up on. It came out too small. I salvage, I guess. It was just fine natural, but it was too narrow for my liking. So I cut her in half and glued in a section of Paducah and yellow heart. and completely refinished it. Looks great, holds great. I actually like this round of finish better than the first one. It's extra glossy. And yeah, you don't win them all. Like, nothing is going to come out exactly perfect. I traced my template. It's a 4-inch template. I don't know how I got 3 3/4 out of it, but I did. So I shot it for a couple of days and just wasn't in love with it. So I was going to throw it in the fire and scrap this whole video. And then I was like, you know what, if it's trash anyway, let's just make something out of it and see if we can't salvage it. And I'm quite pleased with my decision making, because this came out awesome. And it's good and glossy, and it holds good, looks good. It's very sturdy and stable. I'm going to get it banded up. And if you follow any of the forums or any of the Slingshot or Catapult Facebook pages, you'll probably see this laying on a dead squirrel or a dead rabbit in the next 48 hours. We're able to get it done. I got snowshoe hare, male, young male. As you can see from this clear hole just underneath the eye, solid shot. And that is why it's important to shoot a frame that you're comfortable with, that you can aim with. Once you figure out your gap, that gap is going to be consistent regardless of frame or frame shape. It's based on your anchor point. If this is the front sight and your anchor point is the back sight, you should be able to look right down that band, 15, 20 yards, whatever you normally sight in at, and that's right off the top of the band should be where that ball lands. And accuracy is key. Take them ethically, take them cleanly, take home dinner. See you on the next one. Don't give up. Don't get pissed and throw things out when they can be salvaged. And like, subscribe. See you in the woods.